The midnight
Mommy,
call
please
that brought the
come
king
home. I'm
home.
so scared.
It was
I'm
past
on my way,
midnight in
sweetie. This is
Manhattan when the
outrageous.
call
I
hit the
demand this
private
now.
line. An old
Mommy,
number
come
Marcus
home. I'm
never
so
expected
scared.
to see again.
Sweetheart, what is it?
His
I'm on my
estate
way.
in Chicago.
This is unacceptable.
The kind
Get
of
home
call that didn't
immediately.
happen unless something had gone wrong. The kind that made a father's body wake before his mind did. Marcus Blackwood sat upright in the darkness, breath sharp, heart already pounding as if it had been warned. He answered instantly. No greeting. No explanation. Just a tiny voice, thin, shaking, terrified, so small it barely held together. Daddy, he's stealing from you. Then silence. Marcus froze. His hand tightened around the phone as if pressure could pull the voice back out of the void. Emma, he said low and urgent. Lily? Talk to me. Nothing. He called again. Once. Twice. 3 times. Straight to voicemail. The reflection in the dark window showed him clearly, 37, sharp jaw, pale face, eyes that had learned not to soften. A faint scar ran along his jawline like a reminder of old wars. Men in his world called him ruthless. Investors called him untouchable. Enemies called him death in a suit. But the voice on that phone didn't care who he was. It was fear. Pure fear. And fear in a child always had a reason. Marcus was already moving, shirt, belt, watch, his body operating on instinct while memory rose like smoke. Only days ago Dante, his right hand, had sat across from him and warned him. There's something off about Serena, Dante had said carefully. Grace has been uneasy for weeks. Marcus had dismissed it. Paranoia, he told himself. Staff gossip. Old housekeeper bias. Now that warning hit him like a fist. He didn't call security. He didn't call the estate manager. He didn't do the normal steps. Marcus moved like a shadow through his penthouse, called his helicopter, and ordered one destination, Chicago. Before dawn. As the city blurred beneath him, lights dissolving into a glittering fog, Marcus tried to force logic into the panic. Maybe Emma had misunderstood. Maybe Lily had watched a movie and had a nightmare. Maybe Serena had moved money for groceries and the child didn't understand. But deep down he knew. Emma didn't speak like that. And Lily didn't call in the night. Something had been happening in his home while he wasn't looking. He remembered the last morning before he flew out. The breakfast table set perfectly, Serena smiling perfectly, the twins unusually quiet. Emma had clung to his sleeve longer than usual. Lily had avoided his eyes. Marcus had felt something pulling at his chest like a warning bell. He had ignored it. He told himself distance was protection. He told himself love was weakness. He told himself if he stayed cold, nobody could use his heart against him. He was wrong. Because 2 years earlier his wife Catherine had died in his arms. That night had started like a love story and ended like a curse. Marcus and Catherine had stepped out of an anniversary dinner in Chicago, walking hand in hand, laughing softly, talking about the twins waiting at home. Then the gunshots ripped the air. Catherine fell, blood blooming across silk, and Marcus held her while the warmth left her eyes. He remembered her whispering his name. He remembered the moment the world stopped being safe. And after that, Marcus built an empire of walls. He became the kind of man who never forgave. Never forgot. Never hesitated. A man who could make enemies disappear without leaving fingerprints. The underworld respected him. The city feared him. The powerful competed for his approval. But none of it mattered when he stood in a silent nursery and realized his daughters were growing up without him. To avoid pain he worked more. To avoid vulnerability he traveled more. He left Grace, the older housekeeper who had loved Catherine like family, to raise the girls. And then 4 months ago, an attorney introduced him to Serena Cross. Perfect resume. Perfect references. Perfect smile. Serena came in like order itself, polite, calm, capable. She made the home run like a machine. She made the girls follow rules. She made everything quiet. Marcus hired her even though Grace was already there. Not because the twins needed help, but because Marcus needed distance. Serena became a buffer between him and his daughters, another wall so Marcus could pretend he was protecting them, without having to face how much he'd abandoned them. And now, at 30,000 feet, with dawn still hours away, Marcus felt something he hadn't felt even on the night Catherine died. Guilt. Because the call had come from his child. And he hadn't been there to hear it sooner. The helicopter landed outside Chicago while the sky was still bruised with night. Marcus didn't wait for the rotors to slow. He jumped down and strode toward the SUV waiting under the hangar lights. Dante was there, face tight. I've been calling the house since I heard you were returning, he said. No one answers. Not Serena. Not Grace. Nobody. Marcus opened the car door, voice like ice. Drive. As they tore through the sleeping city, Marcus stared ahead, replaying that little voice again and again. He's stealing from you. What did that mean? Money? Property? The house? Or something worse? And beneath the words, he heard what his daughter couldn't fully say. Help us. The estate gates came into view, tall iron, old money, private power. The SUV stopped before the driveway even fully cleared. Marcus got out and found the front door, unlocked. That never happened. He pushed inside. Silence. Not the peaceful silence of a safe home. The dead silence of a room after something has been removed. Emma? Marcus called, his voice echoing through marble and expensive emptiness. Lily? No answer. He ran upstairs, taking the steps 2 at a time, heart pounding harder with every second. He kicked open the nursery door. Beds unmade. Toys scattered. No children. Dante appeared behind him, phone to his ear. Grace says Serena sent her away yesterday, told her she had a paid week off. Grace didn't question it. Serena said there would be a substitute. Marcus's fists clenched. Where is Serena? Then a sound came, faint, muffled, like someone knocking from below. From the basement. Marcus and Dante exchanged a look and moved fast. The basement door was locked from the outside. Marcus broke it open with one violent shove, and rushed down into darkness. The air smelled damp, stale, wrong. Dante's phone light swept across the room, and stopped. A woman was tied to an old chair in the corner. Her face bruised. Her lips split. But her eyes were fierce, awake, and burning with the kind of strength that didn't beg. Marcus froze because something about those eyes hit a place in him he thought had died with Catherine. He moved to her instantly, cutting the rope. Who are you? He demanded, then caught himself because the better question was, why are you here? She coughed, voice rough but steady. My name is Ren Palmer. I work here. And your daughters are gone. Marcus went cold. Where are they? Ren lifted her chin, even in pain, even shaking, and said the words that cracked the floor under Marcus's world. Serena isn't a nanny. She's a predator. She's part of a network that targets wealthy single parents with small children. I found files. Photos. Lists. Families marked completed. And your girls were next. Marcus stared at her, this stranger who looked like she'd survived hell and refused to become soft. Dante whispered, Marcus. Marcus didn't answer. His mind was already turning into steel. But something else happened too, something he didn't expect. He believed her. Not because he was trusting, but because the fear in Emma's voice matched the truth in Ren's eyes. Marcus stepped back, voice lowering into the tone that made grown men obey without questions. Call our people. Call law enforcement. Lock down every road. Every camera. Every exit. Dante nodded, already moving. Marcus turned to Ren again. Can you walk? Ren stood, unsteady but proud, refusing to collapse. I didn't come here to watch another child disappear, she said. And for the first time in 2 years, Marcus felt something in his chest shift. Not pain, not rage. A spark. Because someone else cared about his daughters enough to bleed for them. The SUV roared out of the estate toward the private academy Serena claimed would be safe. And inside Marcus Blackwood, under the suit, under the reputation, under the cold control, something ancient began to wake. Something protective. Something dangerous. Something royal. The academy trap and the girl who wouldn't bow. Serena arrived at Northbrook Academy 15 minutes early, dressed like elegance itself, gray designer coat, hair pinned perfectly, a smile practiced in mirrors and deception. In her hand was a folder of documents stamped with fake seals, signatures copied with patient skill. She approached the front desk like she belonged anywhere. I need to take Emma and Lily Blackwood immediately, Serena said calmly. Emergency. Their father authorized it. Margaret, the receptionist, hesitated. Our policy requires confirmation from a parent. Serena's eyes tightened for a fraction of a second, then softened again. He's unreachable. It's urgent. But teacher Evelyn Marsh had already noticed something odd when she guided the girls into the lobby. Emma's hand was clamped around her teacher's fingers like a lifeline. Lily was crying silently, tears falling without sound, like she had learned that noise made things worse. Serena stepped forward, smile fixed. There you are, sweethearts. Emma didn't run to her. Emma flinched. Evelyn felt her instincts flare. I'll need direct confirmation, she said firmly. Serena's mask slipped again, just for a moment, revealing something sharp underneath. There isn't time. Evelyn straightened. Then we wait. Margaret quietly pressed the hidden button under the desk. Lockdown. Doors sealed. Security alerted. And Serena's smile became dangerous. Because predators hated locked doors when they were the ones trapped outside. Meanwhile, across town, Marcus's SUV tore through traffic. Rin sat beside him, holding herself together through pain with sheer will. Dante was on calls, contacts, authorities, anyone who owed Marcus favors. Marcus stared ahead, knuckles white. Rin finally spoke. Your girls? They're scared of her the way kids are scared of someone who punishes them for existing. Marcus's jaw flexed. I should have seen it. Rin's voice didn't soften. You should have listened. Silence swallowed the car. Then Marcus said quietly, I don't deserve your honesty. Rin looked at him. No. But your daughters do. Those words hit harder than threats ever could. Because Rin wasn't trying to impress him. She wasn't asking for money. She wasn't begging for safety. She was demanding decency. And Marcus, who had built his life on power, realized how rare that kind of courage was. At the academy, Serena's patience cracked. She leaned closer to Evelyn, voice low, sweet like poison. You don't understand who you're interfering with. Evelyn didn't blink. I understand enough. Serena's eyes scanned the lobby for exits. Cameras. Doors. Guards. Her mind calculated. Then she shifted strategies, pressing her palm to her chest like a distressed caregiver. Fine. Call Mr. Blackwood. I'll wait. But Emma whispered, shaking, please don't let her take us. Margaret heard it. Evelyn heard it. And the air changed, because adults could ignore paperwork, but they couldn't ignore a child begging not to go. Just then the academy door shook hard. A security guard looked up, startled. And then Marcus Blackwood walked in like a storm. He didn't shout. He didn't wave a gun. He didn't need to. His presence was the threat. Dante followed close behind, eyes scanning. Rin entered last, quiet, bruised, and unbowed. Serena turned, and her smile tried to return. Marcus, she said warmly as if nothing happened. Thank goodness you're here. Marcus looked at her like she was something found under a stone. Step away from my daughters. Serena laughed lightly. You're misunderstanding. Rin spoke, calm and razor-sharp. She forged papers. She isolated your staff. She locked the girls in darkness. She has files of families marked completed. She's not here to help them. Serena's eyes flashed to Rin with pure hate. Who is she? Serena demanded. Rin met her stare without fear. The one you underestimated. Emma saw Rin and burst into quiet sobs, running to her instead of her father, because children ran toward the person who made them feel safe. That broke Marcus in a way he didn't show on his face. But inside the wall cracked, because his child trusted a stranger more than him. And he deserved that. He lowered himself to Emma and Lily's height. I'm here, he said, voice rougher than usual. No one is taking you. Lily hesitated, then reached for his sleeve with tiny fingers. Marcus covered her hand with his, gentle, careful, as if he was afraid he didn't know how to be soft anymore. Serena backed up slowly, realizing the room had turned against her. Then the doors behind her opened. 2 men in plain clothes stepped inside, calm, professional. And Serena's expression shifted from charm to calculation. Because she recognized law enforcement when she saw it. But she also recognized something else in Marcus Blackwood's eyes. Not mafia. Not business. Something older. Colder. Predatory in a way that made her feel like prey. As Serena was restrained, she leaned close enough to whisper something meant to cut Marcus. You think you're saving them, she murmured. But you left them. I just took what you abandoned. Marcus didn't respond. But Rin did. No, Rin said quietly. You didn't take what he abandoned. You tried to take what he still loved. And love is the one thing monsters can't understand. Serena's eyes widened, because for the first time her control didn't work. The girls were escorted into a private room with Evelyn and a counselor. Authorities began separating truth from lies. And Marcus stood in the lobby, staring at Rin as if he was seeing her for the first time. What were you really doing in my house? He asked. Rin swallowed, then told him the deeper truth. My sister vanished 9 years ago. I followed a trail. And it led to Serena's network. Marcus's gaze sharpened. Then this isn't over. Rin's voice didn't shake. No. It's just starting. The blood-crowned secret and the girl who couldn't be bought. That night, the estate felt different. Not like a mansion but like a battlefield after the first strike. Emma and Lily slept in Marcus's room, guarded not by hired security, but by Marcus himself sitting in a chair beside the bed, watching them breathe like he was trying to relearn the shape of peace. Rin sat across the room, hands wrapped around a mug she hadn't touched, her bruises fading into the shadows. Neither of them slept. Marcus broke the silence first. You saved them. Ren looked away. I tried. You did. His voice was firm. And I owe you. Ren's laugh was small and bitter. Men like you always say that. Marcus's eyes narrowed. Men like me? The kind with money, she said. The kind who think a debt can be paid in cash. Like everything has a price. Marcus leaned forward. Then name what you want. Ren finally met his gaze and her eyes held something he couldn't buy. My sister, she said. Help me find her. Marcus's jaw tightened, not with anger but with recognition. Because he understood obsession. He understood loss. You have my word, he said. Ren's expression didn't soften. Your word is expensive. I've seen rich promises break poor people. Marcus exhaled slowly. Then don't trust my words. Watch my actions. A crash of thunder rolled outside. And for a second the room's lights flickered. Ren frowned. Your power system. Marcus stood, walking to the window. The glass reflected him, but not perfectly, like the reflection hesitated, like the mirror wasn't sure what he was. Ren noticed. Her instincts sharpened. What are you? She asked quietly. Marcus didn't answer at first. Because there were truths you didn't speak unless you were ready to change everything. Then he said, my family built this empire long before guns and contracts. Before Chicago even had a name. Ren's throat tightened. That's impossible. Marcus turned slowly and his eyes, normally steel gray, caught the lightning in a way that looked almost luminous. Not impossible, he said. Just hidden. Ren's pulse kicked. You're not just a mafia boss. Marcus stepped closer. The air felt heavier, charged, ancient. No, he admitted. I'm the last blood crown of House Blackwood. Ren stared. Blood crown? Marcus's voice was low. Vampire royalty. The kind people turned into legends so they wouldn't have to admit we were real. Ren stood up, instinctively backing a half step, then forcing herself to stop. She refused to become a trembling girl in anyone's story. You could have told me, she said. Marcus's expression tightened. And you would have run. Ren's eyes narrowed. Maybe. Or maybe I'd finally understand why monsters keep finding powerless girls. Marcus's gaze flicked to the sleeping twins. Not all monsters, he said. Some kings protect. Ren's voice softened only a fraction. Then prove you're not one of them. The next days became a storm of investigation. Serena's devices revealed contacts, burner numbers, coded messages, meeting points. There were names Marcus recognized from the city's respectable circles, charity boards, private clubs, donors. People who smiled in public and sold children in private. Ren wasn't surprised. She'd learned young that evil wore clean shoes. Marcus, however, was furious, not just as a father but as a ruler who understood what it meant when predators built networks under his city's nose. They used my absence, he said. They used your walls, Ren corrected. That stung. But it was true. And Marcus, who had feared vulnerability, began to understand that emotional distance didn't protect children. It abandoned them. Then the first real twist hit. One of Serena's encrypted files contained a name Ren hadn't seen in 9 years. Ivy Palmer. Ren's breath stopped. Her knees almost gave out. Marcus caught her elbow, steadying her without making her feel weak. Ren's voice broke. She's alive. Marcus's face went cold. Then we take her back. Ren shook her head quickly. Not we. I'm going. Marcus's eyes flashed. You're injured. Ren stepped closer, anger trembling through grief. I've been injured for 9 years. Marcus stared at her, this human girl with nothing but pain and courage, and something inside him shifted again. Because vampires lived long. But humans lived deep. And Ren's depth made his centuries feel shallow. He finally said, then you don't go alone. That night, as plans formed, Marcus took Ren to a sealed room beneath the estate, an old chamber built of black stone older than the mansion itself. A vault. A throne room. On the wall hung a crest, blood-crowned sigil, carved into stone like it had been burned there. Ren swallowed. This is real. Marcus opened a hidden compartment and pulled out an ancient ring, dark metal, red stone, pulsing faintly like a heartbeat. The blood crown, he said. Ren's eyes flicked to him. So your power, it's not just money. No, his voice lowered. And I have rules. I don't feed on the innocent. I don't harm what I protect. Ren studied him. And what do you protect? Marcus looked past her, toward the upstairs rooms where his daughters slept. My family, he said. Then quieter, and the ones who become family. Ren's breath caught on the words, because it sounded like a promise. And promises were dangerous. But then Marcus did something no one expected. He bowed his head slightly. Not as a mafia boss. Not as a vampire king. As a man. I failed my daughters, he said. And I can't undo that. But I can become someone worthy of them. Ren stared shocked. Powerful men didn't confess. They blamed. They bought silence. They avoided accountability. But Marcus was choosing humility. And that was the moment Ren realized. The coldness in him wasn't cruelty. It was grief frozen into armor. And maybe she could help him melt. The rescue, the reckoning, and the queen who wasn't born yet. The location was a lakeside property disguised as a wellness retreat. Beautiful landscaping, locked gates, private guards, polite signage. The kind of place rich people used to hide sins behind luxury. Ren watched from the vehicle, stomach tight. Marcus sat beside her, unnaturally still, like a predator waiting for the exact second to strike. Dante spoke quietly into a calm, "We have confirmation. The network's pickup is scheduled tonight." Ren's hand shook. Not from fear for herself. From fear of hope. Because hope was the cruelest thing when it failed. Marcus looked at her. "When we go in, you stay behind me." Ren's eyes flashed. "I didn't come this far to be protected like luggage." Marcus's jaw tightened, then he nodded once. "Then stay within reach." It wasn't control. It was partnership. They moved in with authorities coordinating from the perimeter, clean, policy-compliant, no reckless chaos because this wasn't revenge. This was rescue. Inside, the retreat smelled like expensive candles and lies. Ren's heart hammered as they entered a back corridor. A door ahead. 2 guards. Marcus didn't rush. He didn't explode. He used something colder. Certainty. One guard stepped forward. Private property. Marcus's eyes met his, and the guard faltered, like his body recognized an apex predator even if his mind didn't. Dante and the team restrained them. Ren's breath caught as she heard a sound, a woman's muffled sob. From behind the door. Ren pushed forward, hands trembling, and Marcus opened it. Inside was a small room, windowless, too clean, too controlled. And in the corner sat a woman with hollow eyes and a pale face, clutching a thin blanket like it was armor. Ren's mouth opened, but no words came. Because the woman looked up. And Ren saw her own eyes in that face. "Ivy," Ren whispered. The woman blinked slowly as if her mind couldn't accept reality. Then her lips trembled. "Ren?" she breathed like the name was a prayer she'd stopped believing in. Ren crossed the room in 2 steps and dropped to her knees, pulling her sister into her arms. Ivy broke, years of silence collapsing into sobs. Ren held her, shaking, and for the first time in 9 years she felt something besides survival. She felt home. Behind them, Marcus stood guard at the door, still, silent, deadly calm. But Ren saw his hand curl into a fist. Because he understood. This wasn't just crime. It was theft of souls. And Marcus Blackwood, Blood Crown King, was done tolerating thieves. Authorities moved through the retreat, freeing other victims, documenting evidence. The network's respectable leader was escorted out in cuffs, his expensive suit now meaningless under fluorescent truth. When he saw Marcus, he sneered. "You can't touch me. I own judges." Marcus stepped closer, voice like winter. "You own cowards," he said. "Not kings." The man laughed. "Kings? You think you're some myth?" Marcus didn't reveal fangs. He didn't need supernatural proof. Because the justice was already happening. Cameras, evidence, arrests, victims protected. The man's power died the only way real power dies. In public. In consequence. In shame. Back at the estate, Emma and Lily ran to Ren and Ivy, clinging like they had finally learned what safety felt like. Marcus watched it, throat tight, then finally crouched beside his daughters. "I'm sorry," he said simply. "I was wrong to leave you." Emma studied him, small but wise in the way her children become. "Will you go away again?" Marcus swallowed. "Not like before." Lily touched his cheek softly. "Promise?" Marcus nodded. "I promise." And this time he didn't say it like a businessman making a deal. He said it like a father rebuilding a soul. Later, Rin stood alone on the balcony, cold wind brushing her face. Her sister slept inside. The twins were safe. The network was collapsing. She should have felt finished. But her chest was heavy. Because healing was harder than fighting. Marcus stepped beside her quietly. "You did it," he said. Rin didn't look at him. "We did." Marcus's voice softened. "I've lived a long time, Rin. Long enough to think nothing could surprise me. Ren finally met his gaze. And you did, he admitted. You walked into my house with nothing, and you changed everything. Ren's eyes narrowed. I didn't change you. You chose to change. Marcus nodded slowly. Because you showed me what strength looks like when it doesn't come from fear. A long silence. Then Ren asked the question that mattered. What happens now? Marcus looked out over the dark grounds. Now I become the kind of king my city deserves. The kind of father my daughters deserve. He turned to her. And you get to live. Not just survive. Ren's voice trembled. I don't know how. Marcus didn't touch her, didn't rush, didn't claim. He simply offered his hand, palm open, respectful. Then learn, he said. With us. Ren stared at his hand like it was the most dangerous thing in the world. Because accepting it meant believing she deserved more than pain. Slowly, carefully, Ren placed her hand in his. And Marcus's fingers closed gently, not possessive. Protective. Promise-like. Somewhere inside the house, the twins laughed in their sleep, soft, safe sounds. And Ren realized the truest kind of romance wasn't fireworks. It was a man changing. It was safety being rebuilt. It was a monster choosing to become a guardian.